The Director of Religious Action, Center of Reform Judaism, Rabbi Jonah Pesner. Thank you for being with me, Rabbi.
Good to see you, Reverend Al. How you doing?
Fine. How did you react when you heard the president making this statement that Jews are being disloyal if they vote for the Democrats and doubling down on it?
It was very distressing, Reverend Al. It was a series of comments that were reckless and dangerous. They feed a centuries-old anti-Semitic trope, an anti-Jewish image of the Jewish person as not a real citizen of the country they live in or not really belonging to the community that they reside in. And what we know, Reverend Al, is that over the centuries, that anti-Semitic trope has been used to justify violence against the Jewish people, culminating, of course, in the Holocaust. It was primary to the Nazi ideology that Jews were other. They weren't real Germans. They didn't belong. And so it was very distressing to see the President of the United States call into question Jewish loyalty. And
the question of loyalty, you took the next question I was going to raise right there. Disloyal, I mean, the suggestion of that in and of itself is very dangerous.
That's right, Reverend Al. And of course, we know that bigoted rhetoric turns into violent action, right? We're still in the one-year period of mourning of the Tree of Life synagogue shooting and the Chabad synagogue in Poway, where our Jewish family was gunned down by white supremacists. And so the fact that the president's rhetoric feeds these stereotypes and these tropes that give comfort and sanction to white supremacists is very dangerous and very troubling.
The fact that we had the Tree of Life, we had the synagogue in California. I mean, these are times that we would expect the president not to even raise anything near a stereotype that would suggest disloyalty. And it seems that he at best is insensitive to the climate that he's in and what he is suggesting here, because clearly, people are not a monolith, whether they vote Republican or Democrat, whatever their religious beliefs, their race, their nationality. So the suggestion they're a monolith in and of itself is bigoted.
That's right. And I think, Reverend Al, this wasn't just a dangerous dangerous words for the Jewish community. It's an attack on democracy, because no elected official should tell any faith group or people of no faith for whom to vote, and a vote as a test of loyalty. In fact, you probably know that Jewish Americans vote as Republicans, they vote as Democrats.
Right.
Jewish Americans vote as liberals and conservatives. They vote their values and they vote their interests, and they should. And elected officials ought not tell any ethnic minority or religious minority who to vote for as a loyalty test.
And people can agree and disagree. Just year before last, we had called for 1,000 ministers march. You brought 300 rabbis, and you and I marched together in Washington with Martin Luther King III, trying to show we've not always agreed, but that we stand together for civil and human rights. That's what you would expect a president to do, not try to play on our divided or try, as I should say, but we tried to stand together, and it was a very effective march. But the tone of this president in these last remarks was startling even to me.
Well, it's very important that you raise the solidarity question, because what is dangerous here is when any minority, black people, brown people, Jewish people, Muslim people, anybody that doesn't look like that stereotype of what a real American looks like. So remember, the president, just a couple of years ago talked about a judge who was an American citizen but called him a Mexican judge.
Right.
I worry that too often we allow groups to be othered, Jews, Muslims, brown folk, black folk. It's really important in this climate of white supremacy and white nationalism that we stand for an America that is multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, that Muslims, Christians, and Jews, black, white, brown, and everybody come together for the America we believe in.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us and your continued work as you and I have tried to work together against, we've not always agreed, and we've not always saw each other's ways as the ways that was best way to go. As I spoke at your conference, I've had some growing to do, and all of us have. but we cannot tolerate this. Thank you, Rabbi Jonah Pesner.
Thanks, Rev.